Hey, what is up? Welcome back to another Black Ops 6 Zombies video. Today we're taking a look at the XMG light machine gun in Zombies. I'm going to go over what I think the best attachments are to use for this weapon. So if you enjoyed this short guide, you want to check out more like this one, be sure to subscribe. And if you guys use any different attachments than what I mentioned here, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. Let's get into it. Alright, now the XMG is a popular light machine gun. There's only 3 in the game currently, and this one has the largest magazine count, which definitely takes advantage of the archetype and the role that you want to have when you're using light machine guns and zombies. Now what's really cool about this weapon, when you PackAPunch it, is actually going to speed up the rate of fire as you hold down the trigger, which is definitely going to ramp up your DPS. However, obviously because it is an LMG, the reload speed and the movement is going to be the biggest downside to using this weapon. For the XMG, we have 9 slots available, but only 8 we can use, so there is one attachment slot not going to be used, and I'll go over a couple different variations of what you could choose. So first up, for the Optic, the build I'm going to recommend does include an Optic. We'll go over a version that does not include an Optic later, but your Optic of course comes down to personal preference. Personally, for me, I've been enjoying the Dobrik MF Reflex sight. Next up, for the muzzle, of course you already know we're going to be using suppressors. Suppressors going to get increased our salvage drop per zombie match by about 10%. Next up, for the barrel, we're going to use the CHF barrel, and on this weapon it's going to give us about a 9% increase to headshot damage. This is going to give us some recoil, both horizontal and vertical, so we're going to need some attachments to kind of balance that out. For the underbarrel, this is where you could make a couple different options. For me, I'm going to run with the Ranger foregrip. This is so we get a slight bump by about 7% in our sprinting movement speed. However, there is a unique attachment, the crossbar, you could opt to use on this weapon. However, if you choose to go with the crossbar, it does quite a few things for the weapon. You will get a slight decrease to recoil and recoil control. However, you will get an increase of aim walking movement speed by about 19% and faster aim down sight speed by about 13%. The big downside, however, is if you choose to go with the crossbar, you're not going to have an optic attachment. Now, aiming down sights with the crossbar is very similar to using tactical laser. However, it's basically always attached and you don't have to activate it. Basically just going to be how you aim down sights. So you're not going to get a full optic or iron sight, which if you like that, it can be good. However, personally for me, I just like using the optics because I like to be able to be more precise with my headshots to conserve more ammo. And so because of that, I'm going to opt for the Ranger foregrip. So we do get some horizontal and vertical recoil, but we also get the bump in sprinting movement speed because mobility is a big issue with this weapon. Next up, for the magazine, we're going to go with the extended mag 2, and this is going to be crazy because it's going to give us a magazine size of 200, which means when we PackAPunch this weapon, we'll have 400 in the mag, which I believe is the biggest magazine size in the game currently. Of course, you're going to have your downsides using this. The normal ones, reload quickness, empty reload quickness, aim down sight speed, and sprint fire speed will all be affected by this. Most of those will be fine with Speed Cola, but I will say that even with the fastest reload for Speed Cola, the reload still does take a long time for this weapon, so when you're using it, just be aware of that. Next up, for the rear grip, we're going to use the Quick Draw grip, and this will give us a nice 20% increase to our aim down sight speed. Next up, for the stock, we're definitely going to need the light stock. This is going to give us an increase to movement speed by 21%, and your movement speed is already very, very slow with this light machine gun. Even with all the perks, the stamina up, the slide augment for PhD, still feels very, very slow. Next up, we're going to skip the laser and move on to the fire mod. And for the XMG, I'm actually going to opt to go for the 762 NATO FMJ attachment. You could run with the rapid fire. That's going to give you about a 5% increase to rate of fire. However, I think 5% is very, very minimal, and because this weapon ramps up its rate of fire when you PackAPunch it, I think you can get away with not actually using rapid fire. Instead, I would use the FMJ because the main strat when using light machine guns is going to be hoarding up all the zombies and then just firing into the horde. You're not really going to be using it as a quick getaway weapon. So I think the FMJ actually would be very effective on this weapon. Now, even though FMJ doesn't show that it actually does any stat increases, the way FMJ works is it's going to increase its penetration damage. So when you shoot a zombie and the bullet goes through, it's going to be how much damage can it do when it hits another zombie on the other side. So if you're firing into the horde, then your bullets do more damage overall to the horde of zombies rather than one individual zombie. So I think for LMGs, I think that's definitely a thing you need to compare. If you don't want to use FMJ, give it a shot, try it out. If you don't like it, definitely run with the rapid fire. But personally, I would use FMJ. Overall, LMGs is not really my cup of tea. However, a lot of people enjoy using this weapon, so I had to give it a try. Had to test it out myself. The amount of bullets you get in the magazine is absolutely insane. The rate of fire is pretty crazy when you do pack-a-punch this weapon. So overall, the best attachments for the XMG, in my opinion, for the Optic, the Dobrik MF Reflex, for the muzzle, suppressor, for the barrel, CHF barrel, for the underbarrel, Ranger foregrip, for the magazine, extended mag 2, for the rear grip, quick draw grip, for the stock, light stock, and for the fire mod, 762 NATO FMJ. And that's going to be the best attachments for the XMG in Black Ops 6 Zombies. If you enjoyed this short guide, you want to check out more like this one, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to check out my last video for the best attachments for the XM4 assault rifle, be sure to click on screen now. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.